What's up, everybody? Hey, listen, if you're an NFL team, the one thing you never want is to have news drop on your head on a Friday afternoon. And on that note, good Friday afternoon. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is a new double shot show. It shows up your way 4 p.m. every weekday. Hope you've enjoyed taking it in as much as we've enjoyed putting it together. And more than the Steelers would be enjoying seeing Troy Fautanu unable to complete practice today over on the south side. That's not good. He tweaked his knee, which was already a problem. That's also not good. He's going to need an MRI, which is really not good. Now, listen, I can find all kinds of ways to at least try to sugarcoat this, although that's not exactly my job, and say, listen, Broderick Jones, who took the remainder of these reps, can go out there now and show everybody his stuff, get right back on that figurative bike and whatever else. But this hurts. This hurts. I got to tell you that even though the Steelers offense didn't get a whole lot done in the second half in Denver, obviously 62 total yards, I saw a lot more to like on that line than what I didn't like. And that's for the first time in this season. Now, Isaac Seumalo's been out. Jones had his performance issues. Fautanu's gone down now. And I would argue that the last place that this team could have afforded to have any kind of injuries or inconsistencies of any kind would be the offensive line. Now, this weekend, going against the Chargers, who have a defense that ranks even higher than the Steelers, I don't know. Maybe there's a great story that's going to be written afterward about Jones showing everybody I'm a first-round pick too, and I'm back, whatever, is a positive. But in the moment, that's kind of rough. The Penguins are taking to the road to play the Sabres tomorrow night because in hockey, they don't wait a month or whatever to start playing games. They just show up, they lace up their skates, they do a couple of laps for 48 hours, and then they start with the games. Pirates are playing tonight in Cincinnati. That's a 6:40 p.m. first pitch. Yet another opportunity to clinch yet another losing season. This would be their 38th in 42 years. And yes, this would be their 82nd loss tonight. When we come back, Chris Halleck's going to join me, and we're going to really get into this Chargers matchup.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Joined now by Chris Halleck over on the south side. He just came out of the Steelers locker room, and amid all the news about the offensive line and how that could be changing things up on Sunday, it adds yet another element, at least as I see it, to this being a really, here comes that term again, pivotal game. And when I say that, Chris, I'm talking about it the way we talk about swing votes in the election, where it feels like the Steelers could either take like some big step forward or a step backward. This is a good opponent, man.
Yeah, I agree. This isn't just a pivotal game for Broderick Jones. This is a pivotal game for this football team on both sides of the ball, because the Chargers are going to test them on both sides of the ball. I do think, because some people will look at some of the numbers that the Chargers are putting up, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Remember, they played the Raiders and the Panthers. The lantern fly hit me in the arm.
The revenge of the lantern flies.
No, but I mean, the Panthers are they're barely an NFL team right now. So let's try to understand that. But the Chargers are still going to be it's going to be their biggest test, I think, so far, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not taking anything away from Atlanta. I think Atlanta's a good football team, but the Chargers can do a lot of different things that are going to frustrate this offense, especially with the offensive line still being young, and now you've got more pieces shuffling Faltanu's been the starter all week, and then all of a sudden something happens today, and it's just anytime there's any kind of uncertainty that happens at the end of the week, it can throw some things off, and it's going to be a big test.
It is. Let's start with the test that the Steelers defense faces, because I don't feel like they've really been tested. Okay, Kirk Cousins was nowhere near at his best in Atlanta, and that Denver offense, oh boy. So in facing a real live quarterback in Justin Herbert, in facing a real live running back in J.K. Dobbins, in facing a real live, don't know what they're going to do on the next play kind of offense, this could be something for them, but especially, Chris, I think up front where the D-line's been really good.
Yes, I do think, okay, first off, Justin Herbert, even if he plays, he's going to be playing on one leg pretty much.
I neglected to mention that in the opening, the whip around there, but Herbert's walking around at Chargers practice today with his ankle,
pretty much.
Big tape all over his ankle. So I don't know. Like you said, if he's playing, he might be playing, and it'll look even more stationary than Cousins did.
Correct. Now, this is where the Steelers can have a little bit of an advantage, a little bit. Greg Roman is the offensive coordinator. He used to be the offensive coordinator for the Ravens. J.K. Dobbins used to be a running back for the Ravens. A lot of familiarity there. Mm-hmm. So there is going to be some things that the Steelers defense has seen previously. The difference is Lamar Jackson's not the quarterback. And so when you don't have to account for a running quarterback, you can't necessarily just load the box full of everybody and expect run, because Justin Herbert is, I don't know if anybody knows this, he's a pretty special guy when it comes to throwing the football. So you have to account for that. If you just load the box all day, he can hurt you down the field. So this is going to be a balancing act of, okay, we have to try to stop J.K. Dobbins in the run game, but we have to do it in a way without allowing Justin Herbert to pick us apart either.
And that means the inside linebackers are going to be involved, I think, in pressing the line of scrimmage way more than they've been, where you've seen both Patrick Queen and Peyton Wilson drop all the time. In each of the first two games, they're going to have to be up front. You don't want Minka up there. I mean, Minka's great at it. I don't want him up there anyway. I think you're going to see the defense try to assert itself first and foremost. That whole adage, you got to take away the run before you do anything else. If they run on you, you can't do anything else. Let's go to the other side of the ball, Chris. Just setting aside the line, because it's just, it's something that can drive you nuts if you think about it too much, and heaven knows we talk about it a lot. I'd like to see the Steelers utilize the middle of the field, but not the way that people tend to suggest it. When you see a team coming up and trying to stop you at the line of scrimmage, just get it over their heads, man. You know what I mean? A little flick to Calvin Austin or to George Pickens cutting across, or gasp, Pat Freiermuth. Just do something that softens them up. Maybe some screens, maybe something. But it doesn't just have to be run, bomb. Run, bomb.
So there is a way to do, and so Mel Kiper Jr. might actually hate this, but the Chargers run out of cover 2 defense way more than, I think it's like the third or fourth highest clip in the league right now of the cover 2 defense. Which it just had to throw that little adage in there, because
maybe it'll be outlawed by kickoff.
Well, if it is, then good for the Steelers, because that's what the Chargers have been running out of. But the good thing about that is that there is a way to beat this, and it is with, first off, you do have to establish the run, because the way defenses are going to want to beat the Steelers this year is they want to try to stop the run while throwing in that big too high shell over the top. If they can do that, the Steelers aren't going to score points. The Steelers have to force defenses to put more guys in the box. If they can't run the football while being able to put, Tara Lawson put it this way, putting an umbrella over the top, there's nothing that they can do. And the one way to do that is establish the run and then use play action to bring those linebackers in and then hit them over the top, because the one thing we can call cover 2 is middle field open. That's what you want to hear if you're a fan. The middle of the field is open, and there should be ways to attack that. The best way to do that is to establish the run and then be able to hit them with play action over the middle.
And the best way to do all of that is to get more than the 3 or 4 yards per carry that the Steelers have been getting pretty consistently from Najee Harris. He's broken a couple. It was really nice to see Jaylen Warren back in there. He's starting to be like all the way back. I spoke with Jaylen this week, and he said that he's feeling just totally fine. He's feeling like he's all the way there. He's getting back into the rhythm. The Denver game really helped in that regard. You're going to need to see these guys break a couple runs, scare the other team a little bit, like you said. You want to see them go, we need to put more people up there. And what they did in Denver, especially in that second half, that wasn't it, Chris.
No, it wasn't. One matchup I'm really, really curious to watch this week is, yes, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack are two very, very good edge defenders. But the middle of that defense, their front three in a basic 3-4 defense, it's not that great. And Najee Harris is actually averaging, between the tackles, almost 5 yards per carry this year already. So if they can find a way to attack the middle of that defense on the ground and continue Najee,
I see what you're saying. Yeah, render those guys moot. Just
then that opens up everything. That opens your ability to run those screens. That runs your ability. That gives you the ability to run that play action. Bring those linebackers in, because those linebackers aren't too great. They're very athletic, but they're not great. They're not a Landon Roberts, the guy who's going to run downhill and just absolutely smack them in the mouth.
I'm so glad you mentioned Landon. Landon's going to have a day. He hasn't been all that involved. Landon's going to have a day. Mark my words on this. Chris, good stuff as always. When we come back, J1Q.
Safety is a habit. Gun safety and responsible storage are no different. Help prevent gun accidents, misuse, and theft. Keep firearms safe and secure when not in use. For safe storage options, visit projectchildsafe.org.
Welcome back, and before we call it a week here at the Double Shot, one final J1Q.
Hey DK, Ryan from Ithaca, New York, and I was just wondering if, with the home game coming up, if Arthur Smith, because he's been conservative, would open up the playbook and we're going to see a more explosive offense.
Oof, boy. You know, anytime I get a question about a crowd factor or an atmosphere, my first inclination is to say, come on, man, it's professional sports. Nobody's into that kind of stuff. It's not a big deal. That's stuff that fans talk about, but not the team, except that we're talking about the Steelers here. And therefore, we're talking about Mike Tomlin. And Tomlin only talks about this. Coming out of Denver, he said that the biggest thing that he was worried about, this was after the fact, was the way the atmosphere would be at the Broncos Stadium. Why? Because they have dedicated fans. They weren't going to have that place taken over by Steelers fans, and they didn't, at all. So could something like that weigh into the game plan? I think so, to an extent. But I also think, Ryan, well, actually, I have a couple things to say to respond to you. One is that I don't know that Smith has been conservative so much as he's been aware of what the opponents are giving him. The Atlanta game saw him be conservative. The Denver one didn't. The Broncos took stuff away, and then Smith didn't adjust, meaning the Broncos took the run away, and what he should have been doing, easy for me to say, is throwing the ball over those guys and softening them up a little bit, and they didn't do that for whatever reason. So conservative, not adjusting, I don't know. Conservative against Atlanta for sure. Against the Chargers, who rank even higher defensively than the Steelers do, although both are in the NFL's top 5, I think you're going to have to see some deep shots. You're going to have to see some throws across the middle. You're going to have to see some additional involvement of Pat Freiermuth to make sure that Jim Harbaugh doesn't do what his brother always does to the Steelers and try to just gang up on one player, meaning, of course, George Pickens. So you're going to have to see that. I think the Steelers are capable of it. I think they're eager to do it. The extent to which it would have something to do with the crowd, I don't know. Plus, there's one other thing to think about here, Ryan. If this is Pittsburgh, where this game is being played, and it is, and if the Steelers are successful in developing a rhythm offensively where they're running the ball and they're getting 6-7 yards as opposed to 3 and 4, where they're throwing a lot of effective screen passes that eliminates a lot of what Los Angeles will want to do to the Steelers up front. This crowd's going to get behind that, man. This crowd is going to ride you the whole way down the field. And I think that might be a factor, if anything, if this head coach thinks like that. It wouldn't be Smith thinking that. It would have to be Tomlin. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody who's been checking out this show for the first couple of weeks that it's been on. We've gotten a tremendous response, and we're really all in on this. I got to tell you that because I keep seeing, hearing, and reading stuff from people like, keep doing it, keep doing it. We're going to keep doing it. Trust me. In fact, we're going to be back with one on Monday.